Welcome to this episode of Talking Inspiration with Herb Kim, who has had a major impact on the Northeast digital and creative sector. He runs events such as Thinking Digital and TEDx Newcastle, along with many other events as well. So, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm not from the Northeast originally. I came, first to the UK in 1997, and then up to the Northeast in 2002. And I was brought up here by the old regional development agency, One Northeast, and with the mission of trying to grow the digital creative sector of Northeast England. And I've been doing it in one capacity or another since 2002. So 23 years now, I guess. So it's been a while.
Yeah. To be a dab hand at it. I've certainly been to the Thinking Digital conference, and it's absolutely amazing. It sort of brings people, to the area, many of whom may never have even been here, but it also is a great way of sort of celebrating what's going on here as well, and bringing, guests that are well known to the area and just getting them to experience the Northeast. That's been a really great thing to see.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a joy to be a part of it for sure.
Excellent. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So for inspiration, there's probably something that means something to you. So have you got something with you that sort of inspires you?
Sure. Yes. I'm right down here, and it is maybe what you would expect. This is a MacBook Air, the M1 version, and the reason I brought it is because I kind of got turned on to, I got my dad to buy the original IBM PC in 1980. So I should note I'm 57 years old.
Wow.
So I've been around for a while, just generally old enough to have, I wouldn't say bullied, but say persuaded my father to make the hefty investment in a very, rudimentary personal computer back in 1980. And, to me, this is obviously the sort of on the other side of that journey. And I think what it was about personal technology was this idea. I think that Steve Jobs, a quotation from Steve Jobs about computing being bicycles for the mind, right? Yeah. And this very kind of hippie notion that this technology could help people make their world and our world better. And obviously these days, technology has not necessarily always achieved betterment for society, but this reminds me of where it came from, and hopefully where it could return to.
So when you say return to, what do you mean by that? So what's your thought there?
Well, I think it's an interesting observation, because if you look at something as fundamental as the personal computer, right? Obviously it has unleashed a ton of productivity and value for individuals, organizations, countries, so on and so forth, right? The interesting thing is that you'd struggle to find anyone who really made a ton of money on them, right?
Yeah.
There's no company. You can't say you'd struggle. You might say Dell or, but there's no obvious dominating piece. So it means that most of the value of this machine has actually gone to people and organizations and companies, right? It's been, in a sense, a democratized piece of technology, right? And so when social media started popping up, between YouTube and Twitter and all these other things, there was this sense, and of course they were all free, right? And there was this early sense of how these tools are going to help bring humanity closer together, right? And this sort of utopian sense of sharing and connecting across borders, across race, across political lines, so on and so forth. And exactly the opposite has happened, right? We have a couple of phenomena. You have a few individuals who have collected almost all the value, the commercial value from these things. Concentrating that for what appears to be mostly bad results at a social level. And they have achieved that by dividing us, right? Because ultimately, people warring over race, sex, technology, whatever it might be, generates revenue. Happy, peaceful agreement where no one says much does not. And so all the incentives have been towards inciting, maybe not all the incentives, but many of the incentives. And as we can see, as whether you look at an international level or a national level or at a community level, where you don't have to go to the United Nations to find division, right? You can literally walk down the street and my family, half of my family is still in America, and so I'm there, and they happen to live in North Carolina, which is famously one of these so-called swing states.
Yeah.
And we've been there since 1990. So again, with 30 plus years, and you can always track the kind of sense of division between just regular people. Just going to the store now is a bit of a minefield to make sure. Oh, you have to be careful of both not possibly being interpreted as racist or possibly inflaming a MAGA voter.
Yeah.
And so, and it's just a bizarre overhead to have in supposedly the world's richest, most powerful and advanced country.
Yeah.
That actually the quality of life for the regular person has got worse. Now, can you put it all on the feed of social media? No, but you can put a lot of it there. That's certainly one thing that's different from, say, 1990 to today.